In this video, we're breaking down a real situation from a GHSA varsity game this season. At first, it sounds pretty simple. The lineup cards are exchanged, and then before the game starts, lightning forces a delay. But the delay drags on, heavy rain moves in, and suddenly the umpires are dealing with several rules questions before a single pitch has ever been thrown. So let's jump into the rules and break down how they apply. Hey everyone, Patrick Farber here with GHSA Baseball Umpire Development and Umpire Classroom, where we help umpires develop their knowledge and skills. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and you can find more educational content at umpireclassroom.com. And this lesson is supported by the National Association of Sports Officials, which you can join through the link in the description. Let's get started. The situation starts with the crew going onto the field 10 minutes before the scheduled game time, exactly as they're supposed to do. They conducted the plate meeting with both head coaches, which of course included the exchange of lineup cards as part of the normal pregame procedure. But immediately after the plate meeting, lightning was detected in the area and the field had to be cleared. Game administration directed both teams and the umpires to wait while the weather situation was monitored. Per GHSA and school lightning policies, if lightning is detected within a certain distance of the field, everyone must remain off the field for 30 minutes from the most recent strike within that range. Pretty standard stuff. After about an hour and 15 minutes, conditions improved enough for the teams to begin warming up again and the umpires prepared to start the game. But of course, before the first pitch could be thrown, another lightning strike occurred and the field had to be cleared again. In total, the crew remained at the field for roughly 2 hours and 45 minutes after the original plate meeting ended, waiting to see if the weather would clear. During the second delay, one of the coaches approached the umpire crew with a lineup question. The coach explained that the starting pitcher listed on his lineup card was also listed as the player DH. Because of the long delay and the fact that the pitcher had already warmed up twice, the coach did not want that player to come back out and warm up a third time. Instead, he wanted to know if he could leave the player in the game as the designated hitter and start a different pitcher in the defensive position. At the same time, the umpire crew was also dealing with some bigger administrative questions. They needed to know what their responsibilities were for determining field playability and whether GHSA's cumulative 2-hour weather delay policy applied to a situation where the game had not yet officially started. So there were a lot of questions wrapped up inside this one situation. When does umpire jurisdiction actually begin? Who controls weather decisions before the first pitch? When do lineups become official? Whether a starting pitcher must throw a pitch to begin the game. What happens if a starting pitcher is removed before facing a batter? And how the player DH rule interacts with pitcher substitutions. So let's start by looking at the rules that actually control the situation. The first rule we need to look at is NFHS Rule 4-1-1, which states, the home coach shall decide whether the grounds and other conditions are suitable for starting the game. After the game starts, the umpires are sole judges as to whether conditions are fit for play and as to whether or not conditions are suitable for starting the second game of a scheduled doubleheader. This rule tells us something very important. Before the game starts, the home team controls whether the game will begin. Only after the game starts do the umpires become the judges of field conditions. So the next logical question becomes, when does the game actually start? For that, we go to Rule 10-2-3b, which outlines the duties of the umpire-in-chief. It states, the umpire-in-chief's duties include calling play and using the correct hand signal to start the game. And that leads us to Rule 2-29-1, which defines play. It states, play is the order given by the umpire when it is time for the game to begin. So putting those together gives us a very clear answer. The game does not start when the umpires arrive on the field. The game also does not start at the plate meeting. The game does not start with the exchange of the lineup cards. The game starts when the umpire calls play to begin the game. That means the pitcher is on the mound, the batter's in the box, and the umpire signals for play to begin. Until that moment happens, the game has not started. And that leads to the big takeaway for umpires. Until the ball is put in play, we do not control the decision about whether the game will start or whether the field is playable. That responsibility still belongs to the home team and game administration. Now, this can create some confusion because another rule also comes into play here. Rule 10-1-2 says, umpire jurisdiction begins upon the umpires arriving at the field, within the confines of the field, and ends when the umpires leave the playing field at the conclusion of the game. So yes, when we step onto the field, we do gain jurisdiction, but that jurisdiction is primarily about things like managing personnel and unsportsmanlike acts. It does not transfer over the authority to rule on field playability before the game starts. That still belongs to the home team. So even though the umpires were present and had already conducted the plate meeting, the decision about whether the game would start was not theirs to make. Now let's talk about the other major rule issue in this situation, the lineup cards. The plate meeting is defined in Rule 2-10-2, which describes the pregame conference. One of the main purposes of the conference is the exchange of lineup cards. Then we go to Rule 4-1-3, which specifically addresses the lineup exchange. It states, at the pregame conference before the game, the home team and then the visiting team shall deliver their respective batting orders in duplicate to the umpire-in-chief. The umpire then shall permit inspection by both head coaches and/or captains if available. Each team's lineup card shall list a minimum of 9 players to start the game. After the exchange at the plate meeting, the substitution regulations, as in Rule 3, are then in effect. This is the key point. Even though the game has not started yet, the lineup cards had already been exchanged at the plate meeting. That means the lineups were official. And once those lineup cards are official, substitution rules are now in effect, even if the first pitch hasn't yet been thrown. So now we get to the more difficult question in this situation. What do we do with the player DH and the starting pitcher? Remember the situation. The coach had a starting pitcher listed as the player DH on the lineup card, and that pitcher warmed up to start the original game at the original game time. Of course, they warmed up, and then the game was suspended. Then they waited around through the first delay, started to warm up again, and were close to getting back on the mound and starting the game when another lightning delay occurred. That pitcher warmed up before the game once, then warmed up again after the first lightning delay when it looked like the game might start. But after the second lightning delay, the coach reasonably did not want the pitcher to have to fully warm up a third time. So he started looking at his options. He wanted to start a different pitcher, but still keep the original pitcher's bat in the lineup as the DH. Now, instinctively, many umpires want to respond to this by saying, well, the starting pitcher has to throw at least one pitch. And that response sounds reasonable. If we look at Rule 3-1-1, it states, after the lineup cards are official, prior to the game, the player listed as pitcher shall pitch until the first opposing batter has been put out or has advanced to first base. So when you first read that rule, it certainly sounds like the starting pitcher must face a batter. But the key to understanding the rule is to keep reading, because the rule book also gives us the penalty for not following that requirement. The 3-1-1 penalty says, if the starting pitcher does not face one batter, the player may play another position but not return to pitch. So what does that mean? It means that while the rule says the starting pitcher should face a batter, the actual penalty for not doing so is not an illegal substitution or disqualification, and it does not prevent the coach from changing pitchers before the first pitch. The only penalty is that the original starting pitcher cannot return to pitch later in the game. But that player can remain in the game either by moving to a different defensive position or hitting for his defensive replacement. So now that we've looked at the rules involved in this situation, let's walk through the case plays that came out of it. Case play number 1. After exchanging lineup cards at the pregame conference and prior to the home team taking the field, lightning is detected and the teams clear the field. After 30 minutes, heavy rain begins falling. The visiting coach wants the game suspended, but the home team says the field will be playable once the storm passes. Who has the authority to make this decision? A, only the home team can make this decision. B, only the plate umpire can make this decision. C, the home team and plate umpire must decide together. D, both coaches must agree. The correct answer here is A, only the home team can make this decision. Remember, Rule 4-1-1 states, the home coach shall decide whether the grounds and other conditions are suitable for starting the game. Before the game starts, the home team controls whether the game will begin. Once the game starts, then the umpires become the sole judges of playability. But before the first pitch, it is entirely up to the home team. Case play number 2. After the pregame conference and before the first pitch, lightning is detected and the field is cleared. 10 minutes into the lightning suspension, heavy rain begins falling and quickly leaves the infield covered with several inches of standing water. The home team informs the umpires and the visiting coach that the field will not be playable and wants to immediately suspend the game for the day. Who has the authority to make this decision? A. This is a legal decision solely up to the home team. B. The decision belongs to the home team, but it cannot be made until 30 minutes have passed. C. This is the sole decision of the plate umpire. D. This is the plate umpire's decision, but it cannot be made until after 30 minutes have passed. The correct answer is A. This is a legal decision by the home team. The confusion here usually comes from Rule 5-2-1, which says that umpires shall suspend play when conditions are unfit and may declare the game ended after 30 minutes. But that rule only applies after the game has started and the umpire is the one controlling the suspension. In this situation, the game has not started, so the umpires do not yet have that authority. The home team may determine the field is unplayable without waiting for 30 minutes. Case play number 3. What is the minimum number of pitches a relief pitcher must throw in order to later be removed from pitching and still remain eligible to return to pitch later in the game? A. 0, B. 1, or C. until the first batter is retired? The correct answer is A. 0. Yes, this one is a bit of a trick question. Rule 3-1-2 states that when a pitcher enters the game, he must pitch to the batter then at bat until the batter is put out, reaches first base, or the inning ends. But imagine this situation. There are 2 outs and a runner on first. A new pitcher enters the game and immediately picks off the runner at first base. That ends the inning, and the pitcher has satisfied the rule without ever throwing a pitch. Case play number 4. After the pregame conference and lineup exchange, lightning and rain delay the start of the game for an extended period. During the delay, the home team manager informs the umpires that he no longer wants his listed starting pitcher, F1, to pitch. That player is listed as the player DH, and the coach wants to leave him in the lineup as the DH while another player starts as pitcher. Is this legal? A. Yes, and the player may still return to pitch later. B. No, the pitcher must face a batter or be removed from the game entirely. C. No, the player may remain in the game as the DH or play defense, but he may not pitch later. The correct answer is C. The starting pitcher is required by rule to pitch to the first batter. But if that rule is violated, the penalty is not removal from the game. Instead, the only penalty is that the player may not return to pitch later. He may still remain in the game as becoming just the DH for the player that replaces him, or he can take another defensive position. Case play number 5. Before the pregame conference, but after the coaches have exchanged lineup cards with each other, lightning and rain delay the start of the plate meeting. During the delay, the home coach decides he no longer wants his listed starting pitcher to pitch, but still wants him to remain as the DH. Is this legal? Is this A. Yes, the player may remain as DH and may still pitch later. B. No, the pitcher must face a batter. C. No, the player may remain in the game but cannot pitch later. The correct answer is A. Lineups are not official until they are exchanged with the umpire at the plate meeting. If coaches have exchanged lineup cards with each other, but the umpires have not yet received them at the pregame conference, then those lineups are not yet official, so the coach is free to adjust the lineup before it is formally submitted. Case play number 6. In the top of the first inning, the visiting team is batting a straight 9-player lineup. The coach uses a pinch hitter for his listed starting pitcher when that spot comes to bat. In the bottom of the first inning, F1 re-enters the game and goes to the mound to face the first batter. Is this legal? A. Yes. B. No, he must bat and remain until he pitches to the first batter. C. No, he is ejected. D. No, he cannot pitch but may play defense. The correct answer is A. This is legal. The pitcher technically left the game when he was pinch hit for, but he is a starter and starters have one re-entry. As long as he returns to pitch in that first inning, he still satisfies the requirement to face the first batter. The only consequence is that he has now used his re-entry. Case play number 7. This is the same situation, but instead of returning to pitch immediately, the team uses another pitcher for the first 3 innings. At the start of the 4th inning, the coach attempts to have F1 re-enter the game as a pitcher. Is this legal? Is this A, yes, and he still has a re-entry later? B, yes, and this is his re-entry? C, no, he cannot return to the game at all? D, no, he may re-enter but cannot pitch. The correct answer here is D. The player still has a legal re-entry because he is a starter. However, because he failed to pitch to the first batter in the first inning, he has violated the starting pitcher requirement. The penalty is that he may not pitch for the remainder of the game. He can re-enter to play another defensive position, but he cannot return as the pitcher. Case play number 8. After exchanging lineup cards at the pregame conference and prior to the home team taking the field, lightning is detected and the teams clear the field. GHSA plays under the following policy regarding suspended and terminated games. When game officials suspend a game due to weather issues, the following procedures are in place. For all baseball contests, there will be up to a 2-hour delay, cumulative, before the contest will be terminated. After 2 hours and 15 minutes from the original lightning delay, the athletic director informs the umpire crew that the lightning is cleared and the field is now playable. Is this legal? The correct answer here is yes, this is legal, and it means we are probably getting close to starting this game. The key point here is understanding when that GHSA policy actually applies, and this might be similar to your rules in other states. The policy specifically refers to suspended games, and a game can only become suspended after it has started. And remember what we established earlier in the video. The game officially starts when the plate umpire calls play and puts the ball in play. In this situation, that has not yet happened. Even though the lineup cards were exchanged and the plate meeting has completed, the umpire has never put the ball in play. This means we are not dealing with a suspended game. We are simply dealing with a delayed start. Because of that, the 2-hour delay rule does not apply. Instead, the decision about whether to wait longer, start the game, or cancel it still falls under the authority of the home team. So if the athletic director and home team determine that lightning is cleared and the field is playable, the game can still be started. So there you have it. That's our review of this pre-game lightning delay situation. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and you can find more umpire educational content at umpireclassroom.com and in Referee Magazine. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the field.